Got it going.
Okay.
So let me refamiliarize myself with where we were in the game.
Yeah, I'm just going to check what cards I've got in my hand. I've got a feeling, yeah. If my scroll of Isildur hits the table, you'll see it's also the lidless eye?
Mm-hmm.
It's a purple card, so I don't think, and it's 97, so I don't think it's the wizard version. Oh dear.
This one's better. This version. Okay.
The lidless eye.
All right. So it looks like I've got Bill the Pony and an Elven Cloak on Bergil, who is being controlled by Imrahil. Faramir has healing herbs. Baratar has the Palantir of Orthanc. Still haven't gotten Saruman yet. 14 cards left in my deck. Denethor has the Palantir.
And you've got 2 copies,
got
obviously.
2 copies, right. I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to align the Palantir that Denethor is holding. So there's 2 ways to use a Palantir. There's 3 ways to use a Palantir. Saruman has his built-in ability. He can tap to use a Palantir. Then there is the Align Palantir, which a Sage can put on the Palantir, and it gives it 2 more marshalling points, miscellaneous marshalling points. Unfortunately, also 2 more corruption points. But what it does is it lets whatever bearer has it use it. They can tap the Palantir to use it. And you can transfer it from one character to another, but you can't move it, or this aligned Palantir goes away.
Okay.
And then there's also a card called Use Palantir that just lets them tap to get a one-time use out of it. It doesn't align it, but it also doesn't give it 2 corruption points. So Denethor is now pretty much stuck at Minas Tirith with the Palantir. But he does have his trusty guardsmen to support him with his corruption checks. And the Palantir of Minas Tirith, it lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and your opponent's deck. I'm gonna do it. He's gonna tap, and I'm gonna look at my 5 cards. They've built this into Reswitz has built this into the card function, so it's got a button. It's got a series of buttons where I can click I'm looking at my card. So I do have, my wizard is in the top 5 cards that I've got.
Okay.
And now I'm going to look at your top 5 cards.
Oh, where does it say you can do that?
It's on the Palantir of Minas Tirith. It says, with its bearer able to use a Palantir, tap Palantir of Minas Tirith to look at the top 5 cards of your play deck.
Oh yeah, do the same.
Shuffle those and then do the same to your opponent. So that's what
I didn't read that far.
That's what snared Denethor. He was looking in the Palantir and he got his roving eye got caught by Barad-dûr, and so he got his hopes dashed. So he's got a corruption check to make, and it's 4 with the Align and the other and the Palantir itself. Baragon is going to tap and make it a corruption check of 3. Good.
So this built-in functionality, when you look at the top 5, it just shuffles.
It shuffles them back. Yes, it's amazing. He can build scripts for just about anything to happen, and some of the more fun cards have that built into it, and it makes it real easy to use them.
We're lucky. I can't believe how much time do you think he's put into.
I couldn't tell you, but I know it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
Okay, my other group of guys over here, since they're at the Haven, they're going to get a fellowship. We already got Bill the Pony. So I'm going to put that on Imrahil, but it applies to the whole company. +1 prowess, +1 corruption, or corruption modifier. And It stays as long as no allies or characters join or leave the company. And it can be
Right.
duplicated. I had one out before, but I think Bill the Pony knocked it off when I played him. So we're going to go.
Okay.
So I'm going to add my extra 2 miscellaneous points from the aligned Palantir. And I think I've got all the other things accounted for. So we're organized.
And that's miscellaneous because it's an event card with points.
Because it's in that little diamond instead of a square.
Right.
Up in the corner. That's how they reference what the point type is. So yeah, it will give 2 additional miscellaneous points on top of whatever the Palantir's actual item points are.
Yep.
So we're going to move the bigger company. We'll leave the others at Minas Tirith. And we'll go to Bree.
I thought. Oh no, you went to Bergil earlier, didn't you?
Yes, I had wanted to play Bill the Pony as a backup after I got the Rangers, but I never drew them. So when I got the pony first, I figured I would play him at the site that was, for not really any other reason, I didn't need it untapped. And yeah, Bag End is in my discard pile.
Okay, so
you can draw 1, 2 wilderness. It's a border hold.
Border hold. Right, let me see what I've got. Yeah, that one's not going to do anything. And that one's not going to... Yes, my dragon strategy continues to be ineffective.
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot we were talking about how our hazards were not hitting.
The only thing I can do is play Gloom as a short event.
All right.
But that's not going to help because you're not going to be going for any. I was thinking if you were facing an automatic attack, but there's none at Bree, so it's really hardly worth playing, is it? Except to get it out of my hand.
So without Doors of Night in play, all it's doing is it will make one character suffer a -1 prowess until the end of the turn, which is that's there's almost no reason to put a card like that in. What the backup that you have it in there for, I'm assuming, is the Doors of Night triggering a border hold into a Ruins and Lairs.
Yep. Yes.
So,
but I haven't got Doors of Night in play,
so I am glad that Doors of Night is not in play.
So actually, does that mean I would have been able to play my Wizard? No, I'd still need Dragon's Desolation as well. I would have had to play it and Dragon's Desolation, isn't it, to get it the dragon.
It's an exciting game to play a dragon, but if they're not going that way, it takes a lot of work, and it takes 2 or 3 cards, and then they cancel it with 1 card, and you feel sort of let down.
I'm glad I've tried it though, because you could have said to me, "Oh, it's not very effective with just the Wizard's cards," and it wouldn't have meant much to me. But having gone through a whole game and not being able to play it, I'm learning my lesson well.
One of the
and I look forward to the enhancements.
Yeah, one of the cards in the Dragon set is called, it's a hazard short event. It's called Searching Eye, and what it does is you can play it to cancel someone playing a concealment. It cancels a card that requires the scout skill, which is all the cards that let you hide from things. So Searching Eye, the picture's got Smog burning the side of the Lonely Mountain, chasing after the dwarves. And
I like it. Yeah.
It's another card you need in your hand, but it will let you get a better shot at getting an attack from a dragon on that company when they've got cancelers.
So just thinking back over your many years of playing, can you say that how often have you got dragons, successfully played them, and
I've done what you've done, what you're doing, trying to play them out of their zone, and
mm,
it can be done. It usually, what I will do is I will try to mix a little bit of a dragon strategy in with something else that I'm already doing
yeah,
with the Doors of Night,
yep,
and
okay,
because Doors of Night, you almost have to have it for the dragons to work right,
yep.
and it also Doors of Night allows the dragons to attack in a larger area.
Is it something that people put in their sideboard, that a few dragons in case their opponents
I don't. I don't.
moving into
I don't
the
see a
region?
lot of people play dragons.
No.
It's kind of more of a metagame thing. If I know that you're going to the dragon sites and you're moving around in their regions, I'll put some in. I usually keep one or two a hunt dragons in my sideboard. There's one dragon that's out in the set the dragons, Itengast, who is the most powerful of the dragons that are in the game, the 9 dragons that you can play as creatures. There's a card called Itengast a Hunt that lets the moving companies in a whole handful of regions have to face a dragon attack from that. That's a popular card
Mm.
it really only takes one card to hit them with a big dragon. But if they're not going there, if they're not in that area, it doesn't make sense to have it in your deck. So that's why I usually sideboard it in.
Mm.
But the flip side
I
is
just
if they're going in that area, they're usually prepared to fight dragons or to cancel them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a trade off really.
I was going to say, is there an argument for two people telling each other what their or even making up their resource decks
Yeah.
and showing them to each other, and each crafting
Yeah. What I would do,
hazards,
I would say you
so that
have to.
your hazards are going to be effective, but both people are in the same boat,
Right. I would
to
say
make it.
maybe the other way to do it would be to say that you have to show, let's say, 5 marshalling point items, like whether it's
Oh, so
factions
the regions.
or items or allies or whatever. So I don't know your full strategy, but I know where you're going.
Mm, mm,
And then that way I would, like you would say, these 5 cards I'm putting these 5 cards in my deck and I'm showing you these 5 cards only so that you
mm,
know a little bit of where I'm going, but you don't know my full strategy. You don't know if I'm going to try to fight dragons or cancel them
mm,
or if
mm.
it's a bluff.
Because it seems a bit of a shame to craft a hazard strategy and then it's completely ineffective because
That
your
happens. It
opponent
actually
does something
happens more
different.
than you expect,
Mm.
which
Comes down to
sometimes the
what you want,
whole.
isn't it? Whether you want all thematic and the cards working, or whether you just want a purely competitive
Exactly.
situation. And,
Yes. Same problem.
mm,
Okay, should we jump back to our
well,
game?
yep,
I
yeah,
I'm gonna
yep.
move.
So no more hazards. So I'll click on no hazards.
Okay, and
I
now
discarded
do
that clue.
next company,
Oh yeah,
and
next
now
no
we'll
hazards.
do
So that's
Denethor at Minas Tirith, and you have a
two
hazard limit
each.
of 2. We're not actually no draw because he's
Oh
not moving.
no. Yep, I'll put that back on my play deck. Forgot about that. Okay, so
Yeah, he's gonna just stay in his tower and use this magic 8 ball he found.
funny you say that. I've been a big 8 ball player.
Oh,
That's
well,
been one of my
you
real
know the reference
interests.
though that the magic 8 ball, that little it was a kid's toy that you shook. It looked like a giant 8 ball, and you shook it. It had a
Uh,
lens on one side, and there was like a jar of liquid that this little. It was like a 20-sided die. Maybe it was like a 10-sided die that
yeah.
floated, and had words on the different sides, and what you would do is you would shake this thing and you would ask it a question, and you would see what random answer came up, like sources say no, or try again, ask later, things like that.
So what was it called?
It was called a Magic 8 Ball.
I'm gonna look that up afterwards.
But that was my joke for what
the,
he's holding there, his Palantir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, a question. So can I, for example, play the Nazgul are abroad just to get it out of my hand?
Yes, you can.
Because it's a permanent event.
It's a permanent event, so it actually will let you have it will give an effect, but playing it unless there's any conditions that are not met that required to play it, yes, you can play it.
Oh, so it'll sit there waiting for Doors of Night to come into play.
Correct.
I'm genuinely doing it that way. Yeah.
Correct. It will have no effect until Doors of Night is in play, but because it's a permanent event, it won't be going away anywhere, so you don't have to hold it.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay, and so no more hazards. Oh, I didn't draw back.
Good.
From the last
yeah, just
one.
Go ahead. Where you played the Nazgul are abroad, so now you no more hazards and draw back up, right? Because you had 8 from the first.
I did have 8. Oh, yeah.
But Nazgul abroad took you down to 7, and so now you'll go back to 8.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll try my sight phase here. I'll do the same, draw back up to 8. There's my wizard. How about that? 12 cards left. So we'll go into the sight phase, and Baratar, who is Aragorn's right-hand man in the north, is going to tap to bring the Rangers of the North faction in.
That's the problem. I still haven't seen my faction card.
So he has 1 direct influence free. He also has a +2 to his roll against the Rangers of the North faction, and he's also a Dunedain, which gives him an additional 1 as printed on the faction card. So he needs greater than a 9, but he has +4 to his roll. Well, I'm going to add +4 more. So the friend or 3 will affect an influence check or a corruption check, and it modifies it for every character in the company. So it modifies it by a count that equals the number of characters in the company. So I have 4 characters in the company, counting the influencer himself. He gets a +4 in addition to the first +4. So he's automatic with the Rangers.
Yep. +8. Yep. Very good.
So like I said, the Friend or 3 is a great card because it works in 2 ways. It works as a support card for you when you're trying to influence factions and things like that, and it also works as a defense card if they're playing corruption.
Yep.
So lots of reasons to put that in the deck. So I
put some in my deck as well because I thought I could be subject to corruption.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and go to end of turn phase, and I will draw back up to 8 and acknowledge the discard.
You've got your 2 faction MPs as well.
Oh, right. Thank you. 3 faction MPs. I'm gaining on you.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. I'm just I think I'll discard that ring because of this issue. I've got too many item points already. Let's see if I can get my faction card into play.
So remember too that your dwarven ring that Dane is holding is worth 6 points. So I think you have that tallied correctly. He's got 6 item points from that, and Balin has 4 item points from his axe. So you're correct at 10.
So done.
All right. End of turn.
Done turn. Untap all. Yeah, so I've got 19 and it's 10, so even if I if I play the scroll and say, to store it, I've got to store it at Bergil.
No. That's the wrong version. That's
So
not
what
the
does the
hero
right
version.
version say?
Yeah, your version says it's worth 4 points and it adds 3 corruption, 2 or 3. I'm not positive, but it also gives +2 to your rolls for ring tests. So it makes it more likely to get a dwarven ring or the one ring.
So it's 4, and 3.
I have it saved over here.
It's +2 to the roll when you're
it
testing.
Gives so. Here's what the dwarven ring. You have. I'm sorry. Dwalin's tribe. Okay, that's what I've pulled up. It gives 5 corruption points to a dwarf, which is crazy. It gives a +4 to his prowess and a +1 to his body. It gives him 7 direct influence, and it's worth 6 points. And he can tap to search the play deck for a major item playable at his site, and you have to play it immediately or discard it.
I remember that now. That's why I chose that one, because I thought, I'll grab. But I was not thinking about this issue of you can only have no more than half your points from one category, or I would have chosen a different dwarven ring, I think.
Oh, right, because of all your...
I was going to have too many items.
All the bonuses you're getting from being dwarves and having all the dwarven items.
Okay, so this scroll...
Let me... Already maxed, points. Yes.
Okay, great. Yep, so it's 6 and 5. Wow. I'm going to be in trouble with the free council.
Well, as long as he's got lots of cronies to help him out. That's what the smaller-minded dwarves are best for, to help with the big dwarven ring corruption checks.
Yep. All right, so I've got Bofur in my hand, so I can bring him in with Gandalf.
You could bring him in if Gandalf is at his home site, so he's the Blue Mountain Dwarf. He would need to come in either at his home site or at any haven, any of the 4 havens. So once your company of wizard and dwarves with the dwarven ring go back to a haven, he can come into play with them right there.
So this is because the wizard's in play.
Because the wizard is in play, the wizard either you have to do one of 2 things once the wizard is in play. You either have to have the wizard be at the site that the character comes in under general influence, or you have to have another character that has enough direct influence bring that character in completely under his control. Does that make sense? So a character like Balin has 2 direct influence. He's using it right now. He's using one of those right now to control Dwalin. But if you had a 2-mind dwarf that you wanted to bring in, you would take Dwalin out from under Balin's control, freeing up Balin's 2 direct influence. And as long as they were either at a haven or at the Blue Mountain Dwarf Hold, Balin could bring that character in under his control, regardless of the fact that Gandalf is off somewhere else.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so at least one of my companies...
So it does, once the wizard comes in, it limits your options about bringing characters in. They don't pop up quite as easily, but if you play it safe, if you take a trip back to a haven, that's generally when they'll pop in, rather than at their home sites, unless you're going to their home site to get their faction.
I better just double check. I can't... There's 2 dwarf factions, isn't there?
There are. There's the Iron Hill Dwarves, and then there's the Blue Mountain Dwarves. The Blue Mountain Dwarves are all the way over on the left side of the map. The Iron Hill Dwarves are all the way over on the right side.
I think I picked the Iron Hill because they had more marshalling points.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only got 10 cards left, so it is going to pop up. So I could be moving there in anticipation, because with you having faction points down, I can't afford you to double those.
Right.
So I think it would be wise to move there in anticipation. So I might move one company there to do that.
Mm-hmm. And the Balin and Dwalin are farther away from the Iron Hills than Gandalf and his group.
Yeah, they're at the old Pupil Gap. Yeah. And the other guys are at Amon Hen. Yeah. Okay. All right, so a plan is forming. So
what I might do, here's a suggestion. So they're at Amon Hen. The nearest haven is Lorien. They can't get from Amon Hen all the way up to the Iron Hill Dwarf Hold in one move. It's too many regions. So what I would do, I would move them from Amon Hen back to the nearest haven, to Lorien, and then on your next turn, you could play that extra character, because Gandalf will be at a haven, and the character can come into play there, and you can make it from there, from Lorien, to the Iron Hill Dwarf Hold in one move, because you would use the starter movement to get there.
Because it's the nearest haven.
Because it's the nearest haven, right. And the starter movement is important because it allows you to get to certain sites from a haven that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. If a site is more than one move away from a haven, that's too dangerous of a site. So everything is within one move of a haven, using starter movement.
So even experienced players playing full cards and that, they still use that starter movement for that reason.
Exactly. Well, it's necessary, and it also it prevents opponents from playing creatures keyed to certain regions by name, because this is just a little wrinkle to the way that the rules were done. When you play with starter movement, it's assuming that you don't have a map or you don't have region cards to lay out to show what the names of the regions are. So the only regions that you see by name are the Havens region, because it's printed on the Haven card, and the destination sites region, because that's printed on the site card. So they say you can key by name to the starting region or the ending region, but none of the middle regions by name, because you don't see them in a starter movement play.
Okay.
That's probably more than you wanted to know.
No. Okay. Yep.
So yes, so the short answer is yes. Experienced players often use starter movement because it's safer.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what they'll be doing, and the scroll, really, there is just... but I suppose if I get other points, that'll up the 50% that can be items. So
yeah,
I've got nothing else in my hand that's worth marshalling points. So I could think about the other two dwarves, Balin and Co. Trying to get this scroll of Isildur. So that's a greater item from the old Pupil.
So the place that I would go is the stones. Yes, the stones.
Yeah. From the stone circle to the stones.
So it's like what, three regions, 3 wilderness, or is it 2?
Just 2.
Let me look. Hold on.
Oh,
well, remember the old Pupil Gap is a little teeny. It's the little teeny spot.
Yeah, it's just
so here's the thing though. They those two regions are not adjacent in the rules. There is a gap between them. Now, this map doesn't really show it. But what you would technically need to do would be to go Old Pukal Gap, Old Pukal Land, Andrast.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to sort of loop around the mountains. I'll have to point that out that they didn't get that right on this because there's two problems. The Old Pukal Gap is so small you can barely click on the region. And then it also is mistakenly looking like it is adjacent to Andrast, but it is not.
Well, I've got a big A2 version of that map that we're using.
Now, does it show any?
It's got a red line. It looks for all the world like you can go through. Whereas, say, between Rohan and Dagorlad, it's got a double red line
Right.
either side of the river.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the Old Pukal Gap card.
Oh, I'll look in my.
And it says, I'm sorry, it does say Amphalis. Amphalis, not Andrast. It is not adjacent to Andrast. If you look on the card, on the region card for Old Pukal Gap, it has Amphalis and Old Pukal Land only. Andrast is not an adjacent site. So they've done a little disservice with that map. Not that it's going to make any difference. It's not going to change anything in our game, whether you're moving through 2 wilderness or 3 wilderness. I don't have anything that's going to hit you.
But it's curious. It's actually, there's a discrepancy between the map and the cards. Okay, now, so I was getting my site cards. So the stones. And I want Lorien, which is in Miles and Foothills. So Lorien goes on 12, and the stones on 2. Okay, so there's no corruption to try and remove, so I'm organised. And there's no long events, so into the movement hazard phase. And I've got 8 cards, so it's not like I can.
Right. Neither company is going to give you advantage going first to draw back up. So. I would do the company moving to the non-haven first, just to be safer with them, because the other ones, once they get back to the haven, even if they got hit hard on the way, as long as they're not dead, they'll heal.
I like that. Yep, that's a good heuristic.
So the guys running around far away from safety are the ones to let go first.
While you've got less cards in your hand to hit
right.
them. Yeah,
well, I would not, because for one thing, they're a 2 hazard limit company. I can't really set up much of a combo against them. If you had done Gandalf's company first, I might be able to get some enhancers into play for creatures that I would then throw at the other company.
Yep. Alright, so I reveal
the stones.
Going to the stones,
and we know the path.
We know the path. Yeah, we've discussed the path. It's a triple wilderness. Oh, yeah, because I don't want to go through the. No, it's a triple wilderness either way.
It is.
Triple wilderness to ruins and lands.
And what's nice is it's only a 1-card draw, so it's not. You're not giving me much to hit you with.
Another one of my dragons that I can't use.
So
Right.
again, perfect that you picked the company with the 2 hazard limit, because I would have a lot of ability to set something up here that I don't. So instead of trying it, I'm just going to put another ring wraith into play as a permanent event. This guy is the one that taps and discards to make a wounded character bearing an item, discard the item.
I like the picture on this one.
Yeah.
Those tusks and that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'd like to see this guy in real life. It'd be
I remember
amazing.
when I was first seeing these cards when I was opening packs and just thinking, what is the next one going to look like? You know, because we didn't know what the cards were. All right.
I missed out on that. Yeah, I just bought a big collection off somebody years ago.
Well, that's the way to do it now. Those collections live on. People who get out of the game know that there's others who like it, and will pass the cards on for sale or trade or gift, and the cards get a new life.
Hey, I see where Vasta's joined. Do we want to tell him that we're on Discord if he wants to chat? Or
sure, yeah, send him, give him a message.
Vasta. I don't actually know how it works. A third person, that's something I haven't done before.
He can just jump in. Oh! I don't.
That effect.
In the Cardinum chat room. Yes.
Right. Okay. So you've played one of 2 hazards.
So I played one, and I gave you a no more hazards. I didn't have anything for them.
I missed that. Yep. Okay.
So they have made their way to the stones.
Yep.
And I'll click next movement hazard, and I'll be ready for your second company.
Righto. Okay. They're going to Numenoreans. So it's the nearest. Is it the nearest haven for?
Yes.
Check for Amon-Hen.
Yes, it's nearest haven for both. Mm-hmm. Well, there's only 2 regions. The only way you're going to get from Amon-Hen to Lorien is through Rohan and the Wolden Foothills. So we draw from the non-haven site, which means if you're moving to a dangerous site that lets you draw lots of cards, or lets your opponent draw lots of cards, they get to draw lots of cards when you go there, and then when you leave too, if you're going back to a haven. So it makes it dangerous. But you use the non-haven site for card draws.
Yep.
All right. So now I have a hazard limit of 5. And I'm debating whether I want to do anything here or not. Yeah, why not? I'll play some cards. So I'll play the Mouth of Sauron to get a hazard from my discard pile. To my hand.
Yep.
So that's 1. The minion stir is 2. So this is the boost for trolls and orcs. 1 extra strike and 1 extra prowess.
Yep.
So that's
no orcs
2.
Or trolls in my deck, so I won't get any benefit from that long event.
Right. I'm going to tap a Dunafel to tap Dane.
Okay.
So you can tap Dane. That's my 3rd hazard. My 4th hazard is one of my trolls. So I had in my hand, but I got the minion stir from my discard with the mouth. And that will enhance this. So instead of 1 at 12, it will be 2 at 13. And Dane is tapped, so he will not be able to use his ring to stomp mightily on the troll.
Ah, that was why he did that, right? I was wondering, yeah.
Because the ring makes him just so powerful. So you can assign the strikes. Quick beam is actually able to face one if you want. He cannot face strikes at a site or automatic attacks, but he can face things when they're moving.
Right. And he's a 6/9.
He's as tough as a wizard.
Yeah. And yeah, so then it becomes a question of, do I want to use Gandalf to try and get the kill point, or do I want to sort of sacrifice one of my minor dwarves? Because they're not worth any marshalling points.
I used a lot of hazards. I have one left, which is something to consider when you're facing this, whether who you want to have untapped, if anyone, after you're done, because potentially one more hazard can come at you. But I've used 4 of them to get this to you, so you see how inefficient it was to attack for this attack.
I think I need all the points I can get, so I'm inclined to try and get the kill point. I've got a risky blow, but I'll keep it up my sleeve. I think I might try quick beam first.
Yes.
So I might tap him and go, oh, it's a 13, isn't it?
It's up to a 13. So he needs
7, so I'd need an 8.
So what I would do is I'm giving away here. I would tap to support. Yes. I would tap all 3 of your other characters, the 2 dwarves and the elf, to give him +3 to his roll. So he's up to a 9 versus a 13 tapping.
Yep, and then Gandalf taps.
And then Gandalf taps and uses the risky blow and is also a 9 versus a 13.
Okay, so I'm facing attacks. So locale 18. Oh, that's right, but you can't choose the...
You can't choose it, but I know who it is. Go ahead and just nudge it over to the next guy. It's fine.
Yep. All right, so I'll just tap these guys to support. All right, so it's a 9 versus 13.
Got it.
Only just. Okay.
And if Gandalf does the same roll, you've got a point on your way to the haven.
Okay, 12. Just to practice doing it the right way. Tap and play risky blow, which makes him a 9 versus 13.
Come on, Gandalf. Yay!
So /score. Discard the risky blow. Add a kill point. And done facing.
There we go. That's all I had. You weathered the storm.
Okay. So
and you got a point out of it too, so well played.
Thank you. So sight phase.
Oh, you can tap quick beam. You're actually able to tap him. You just can't give him the little green attack arrow.
Oh, he's still
untapped. So go ahead and tap him. There you go. That was all.
Yep. So the sight phase, so nothing happens at Lorien, and the other one, I was going to play scroll, wasn't I? But what's the
auto attack?
Automatic attack, 2 strikes with 9.
So what you need to keep in mind here is that Balin is already carrying 3 corruption points with the axe.
Yep.
And Dwalin effectively has 2 corruption points. Even though he's only got a 1-point item, he has a 1-point minus to his rolls. So they're both they're both going to get, either of them is going to get some corruption playing the scroll. They would be the candidates that I would hold on to that a friend or three for any kind of corruption checks that either I force or that you make at the free council at the end of the game. To you've got to protect those points.
So the pupil is 2 at 9.
So really, your best bet is to give it to Balin, to give the scroll to Balin, but then he's going to have what, 6 corruption, 5 corruption. Dwalin really can't stay untapped to face this automatic attack. Balin can. Balin is up to a 8, back down to a 5 versus a 9. He only needs a 4 staying untapped. Dwalin will need his shield and a good roll just to tie it.
All right. So Dwalin taps, and the shield taps. So that makes him a 3.
Right.
3 versus, what was the number? 9.
9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
3 versus 9. Slash roll. Ooh.
Ah, yeah. Oh, come on, Balin. So the shield actually is going to help him out here because it gives him an extra body, which he only had 7. So I have a body check at 8. Good. He's wounded but not dead. And he'll still count on that friend or 3 if you end up drawing it, because it counts characters. It doesn't matter if they're wounded or not.
Right.
So come on, Balin. You've got to make your roll so you can get the item.
Yep, so he would be an 8, but he's -3, so he's a 5.
Correct. So he needs a 4 to tie it. Good. Good.
Right. Okay, so he taps. Oh.
That's right.
You can discard the
the stone circle.
The other one, yep. And he discards, and I play the scroll, albeit the lidless eye version.
Mm-hmm. Let me just.
So we've got to remember that scroll's a 3. So it's. Did I say? I think we said it was 3.
It is 3. I pulled it up in the card page of
plus 3 for Duran's Axe is 6. Oh, he's going to be cactus.
Yeah.
Anyway. And we said it was a 4. The scroll was worth a 4, so I'll up my items for what it's worth.
Correct. Scroll is 4 marshalling points and 3 corruption points.
So we go into the end of turn phase, and I'll just check. I know I'm not going to get to play this dragon, so I'm going to discard him and draw 2, and then give you the option.
All right. I'm looking at what I've got in my hand, and I've got my wizard, and I've got another character, which I can't both bring in on the same turn, but the character would be worth another point, and I'm wondering if it's worth holding on to that if we're going to get another turn. I'm looking at how many cards are in each of our decks, so I think I'm going to discard the second character.
Oh, it's an automatic free cancel once we both.
No. We would. Yes, correct. When we both get through, it calls automatically. The last player, whoever went first, the other player gets a second turn. Okay. So let's do this.
you can have a third party.
It's my wizard has finally showed up.
Ah.
And because I've already brought the Palantir of Orthanc into play and left Isengard, which is Saruman's home site, is in my discard pile. So the only other place he can come in is Rivendell.
Okay.
Wizards are Rivendell or their home site.
Oh.
Gandalf has the advantage. He can come in at any haven.
Right.
So I think what we'll do is we'll move... All right, so I am organized. I'm in the long event phase.
So the minions.
Minion stir will go away on your next after you go right into your long event phase. It will go away because I play it during your turn. It stays out for your turn
So
and my turn, and then it goes away midway into your next turn.
Now you've got Sun out, right?
So the Sun will give each of my Dunedain a +1 to their prowess. If Gates of Morning is in play, it boosts even more, but it's not. So that's all I have to enhance them in the long event phase. We'll go into the movement hazard phase, and I'll do the moving company first. The other two are staying where they are, Minas Tirith and Rivendell. So they're just moving back from Bree.
Okay.
So I'll give you the path. And it's 1 each, yes. And you have a hazard limit of 4.
Alright, well, it's a no-brainer that I just picked up Doors of Night, so I'll play that.
I got my Twilight ready to cancel that.
Oh, I had a Twilight and I got rid of it. So
yeah, this is the war that usually happens when one player wants it one way and the other the other. You end up seeing lots of canceling back and forth and back and forth.
And I had another Gloom, so I would have been able to play my Gloom. So you got a good benefit out of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I realized I did have that Twilight, and I realized that it was worth holding on to.
Yep. So then, do you know? In fact, if it wasn't for that Twilight, I had Gloom, Dragon's Desolation, and a dragon. But you're not moving to Ruins and Lairs, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Right. Right.
So it's just so hard a combo to get.
Well, what you would have done is you would have used Gloom on the way there. If you had gotten Doors of Night into play, Gloom would have turned Bree into a Ruins and Lairs, and then Dragon's Desolation would have let your dragon attack there.
Hang on, so say that again. So
you play. So let's assume Doors of Night is in play.
Yep.
Gloom will let you, if Doors of Night is in play, it will let you treat a border hold as a Ruins and Lairs.
As a wilderness, or one border hold as a Ruins and Lairs. So how would that?
So you turn Bree into a Ruins and Lairs site with Gloom, and then you use the Dragon's Desolation to play a dragon creature at a Ruins and Lairs that has 2 wilderness in its site path, which it does.
Yep. And then I play my dragon.
But
I thought it was only where you're going to. So I could have done that sequence based on your...
You would have had to do that when I moved there. I'm leaving there, right. You're correct. I'm not under the danger of that happening.
Yeah.
Especially because Doors of Night is not in play, but because I'm moving away, you would not key to the site. You would key to the path and the destination site, which is a haven.
Yeah, it's a hard
It's tough to play. Right. You're right. It's playable. It's kind of crazy to think that you could get a dragon in play at Bree, but it's doable.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll play Gloom as a short event to get a -1, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to play any creatures, so it's not
just to get it out of your hand. That's a valid play.
Yep, and also Dragon's Desolation. I think I'll play that, even though it won't do anything. So that's 3. And that's all I can do, so no hazards, and I'll just discard. I'll discard those cards.
So I will move Bree to my discard pile. I will draw back up to 8. I will let you click next company.
I still haven't picked up my faction. It's in the last 3 cards.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, that was like my wizard. Same deal. All right, so let's do Denethor at Minas Tirith. So he has a hazard limit of 2.
Okay. What calls this one? Yep. Okay. So I'll play a Dunafell as a permanent event.
Yeah, good play.
So that means I can make someone tap.
Correct. That was what I used on Dane.
And I'll play Dragon's Desolation. Again, it's not going to do anything, so I'll just discard it. But I'm just thinking before I finish whether I want to. Are you going to a Haven?
He's at Minas Tirith. I'm at Minas Tirith.
Oh, sorry.
So you can target the company at Minas Tirith, but that was your hazard limit. So.
Oh, because it was only 2. Yep.
Yeah.
So no more hazards.
So you get to draw back up.
Yes.
And then do next site phase, or next company.
Yep.
And then we have Saruman at Rivendell. So 2 that you can play again.
And I've got the dragon, which I can't play. So it's no hazards.
Okay.
And it must be the last card in the deck, unless I discarded it. Maybe I discarded it earlier and I forgot. But
I hope not.
I don't remember seeing it.
All right. Well, I'm going to let Saruman join up with this company. So Fellowship is going to go to my discard pile. And let's move him there.
Yep.
And that's all I'm doing this turn. So I'll go to the end of turn and let you discard.
Okay. I think I had I've got a ring law, so I'll get rid of that. It's an easy one to lose.
And draw your last card and see if is it the Dwarves?
No, I must have discarded it.
Oh no.
Earlier.
Well, here's the thing. You'll
so
discard. You'll shuffle your deck back together. So do the redeck command.
Oh, which was slash -deck.
And there, it automatically puts all your cards back shuffled into your play deck, and it returns all of your sites to the site deck. So there is a faction in that 38 pile of cards right there. Whether you're going to get it or not on a move is anyone's guess.
I have got Farsight, but I don't think I'll have time to move to an information site to pull it out and then play it. I suspect you'll be calling.
Right.
Although you haven't got 20 yet, so you can't call this turn, can you?
Correct. It's a nail biter.
Yeah. But this turn over, you'll be able to call because it'll be both play decks. Yeah.
So you've got me by 6 points, which is a good advantage. You just need to be really careful with that corruption, especially at the end of the game, because that's when things get ugly.
I'm pretty worried about it.
And don't forget, I have Ren the Unclean on the table too, so I could tap that and make everyone check. Now, I don't really necessarily want that with Denethor carrying the Palantir that is aligned for 4 corruption points. That's kind of dangerous on me. Although I have Bergil there that he could tap to support him.
Yep.
But just something to think about.
So where are we up to? I've done my draw back.
So I'm sorry, I was running my mouth. I should have just hit the button.
So start turn. Tackle. Stones, yeah, so I've got a wounded Dwarven, so those guys need to move back to a haven.
Here's what I would think about that is, more than anything, he will be a support for a friend or 3 on Balin's corruption check. He's not worth any points. He's not carrying anything worth any points. I wouldn't waste Indor or Dawn Death tapping that to make him discard the shield, because there's no points there. So he's sadly he's somewhat expendable, but but if you can keep him alive, he'll help Balin with his corruption check if he can.
Yeah. So just looking through to see what marshalling points I've got. Oh well, first of all, Bofa. I'll bring
Correct.
Bofa in.
Bring Bofa in. He can come in either under Gandalf's control.
Right, so it's locale. Well,
if you move to the Ironhill Dwarf Hold, Dane can bring them in automatically with the ring that he's got on. Because he already gets bonuses.
I have got Ironhill Dwarves in my hand, so I'm just wondering how that got there. It must have been there.
Okay.
Unless I just picked it up at the end of...
At the last... Yeah.
I don't
well, then
know.
that's what you want to do. You want to move Gandalf's company from Lorien to the Ironhill Dwarfhold. That's first and foremost. That's your job now. The other guys are kind of on their own.
I've got a talk of Hughes, but I don't really want more item points. It's just not going to...
Go get the faction. I wouldn't worry about putting more corruption on Balin's group. I wouldn't do that at all. I would say unless you have another ally in the deck.
No.
Then I would say they've served their purpose.
Just to stay.
Keep his points. Keep his marshalling points safe, however you can.
Okay, so I'll grab.
Because if you get the Ironhill Dwarves, then you definitely want to call for the Free Council, because you'll have 20. It's a 4-point faction, right?
Yep.
You'll have 28 points. That'll be a 10-point lead, and there's really no way I can catch up that quick in one turn.
So that's the organised. I just checked that I've not got any enhancers that I want to play. Nope. So the long event. So your long event
goes away now.
Resource goes away.
My hazard that I played goes away on your long event.
Right.
The sun will stay in play for your turn.
And I play new ones. Yep. Okay. Yep. So I go into the movement hazard phase, and again I should do the moving
I think I would.
Oh, but this is the situation where I've got 7 cards. So if I do that
Well,
one first,
look at
I
what
would
you've
get that
got in your
extra
hand.
card.
Look at what you've got in your hand, and if you've got either some prowess boosters, like another risky blow, or if you've got cancelers.
I haven't. I haven't. All I've got's a new friendship and a friend or 3.
Okay. Well, the new friendship will let a diplomat bring the faction in. Gandalf
So
is
I've got
only
extra help.
using. Gandalf is only using. Wait, he's got 2, 4, 7. He's got 3 free. And he could use the new friendship as a diplomat, and he could bring them in automatically, or Dane could bring them in automatically. So you've
Yep.
got options. You've got either of those two guys. As long as you keep one of them untapped, you've got the faction. Dane could use the new friendship too because he's a diplomat. He doesn't need it because he's already got such a big bonus of direct influence from the ring. But
Yep.
but it's there for use. So I would. It's up to you. Pick who you want to move first, or whose movement hazard you want to do first.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'll move Barlin first because I don't to give you less chance to pick up cards.
Okay.
So that he's safer.
And when you do that,
it's got
you'll
the advantage
draw.
of giving me an extra card.
Right. You'll draw back up to your hand size before the moving company goes, so you'll get an extra card that way. So
Yep. So it's 2 hazards. Key to Ruins and Lair.
You're so lucky. I have a Lure of Nature, which does not play on dwarves. Dwarves are immune to it because they don't care about nature. Hobbits are immune to it because they're so in touch with it. So it doesn't play on hobbits or dwarves. It would be a perfect card to put on Balin or on Dane, each of which carrying as much corruption as they are. But I cannot play it, so I can play a Cave Drake keyed to the Ruins and Lairs. Since you're not moving, you're at the Ruins and Lairs, and that's all I can key it to. Balin will beat his easily, but I don't think Dwalin will.
No.
So I'll let you face that. My hope is that Dwalin dies and you don't get the extra +1 when you use the friend or 3 to protect Balin at the end. So he's tapped. He's wounded. He's down to a 0. You could tap the shield and take him back up to a 1.
Yep.
And then he needs a 9. Or if you've got a risky blow, he could use that too if you wanted. But again, he's not worth any points. He's just your.
So it's a 1 versus 10. This is not looking good.
Ah!
Okay, so.
Well done.
What an effort.
So he's up to an 8. If he taps, he just needs to beat a 2, and you've got the point.
Yep. So.
The worst he can do is tie.
Yep.
Haha, good. So
Okay,
score the
so
point. See, I was getting a little greedy there, and you ended up getting another point out of it. But that's the way it goes.
You were unlucky. The odds were well in your favour, I think.
You always get a surprise like that with the dice. You never know.
Yeah, makes it fun. So I draw back to my 8.
So back to your 8. I do the same, and then we move over to Gandalf.
Yep. Now, I just drew back and I picked up a Twilight, so I could play that straight away.
You can play that at any time. Yes, you can play it right now, and you could Twilight the Sun. Okay, so you're twilighting the sun, which is the only environment that's in play, so that goes away.
Okay. And now I'll reveal on 3 and 3. This could be horrible.
So you do the /P. I think
Yeah.
you're pretty safe. I don't think there's much that's going to happen to you here. You've got such a robust company. You've got 6 characters and an ally and a tough ally.
Oh, hang on. Did you? Oh, I have got more. I have got 8 characters, but they're not all in the same company.
No,
It was
you can
7
only
once I
have the
learned.
company size is allowed to be up to 7.
Yep.
So do this. You've done the
Alright.
/P. I'll draw my 3,
1, 2.
and I'll redeck. I've got one more card to draw.
So does that mean it's automatic at that point? Does that mean we get one more full turn each?
We've
When
both
does
been
it
through our
actually
decks.
kick in?
I think it ends at the end of this turn. I think you get
Oh,
it. I think you get it here.
you don't get an extra turn.
No, because we've both been through. That's the sort of the last step to ending the game is
Ah,
if both players go through their deck. If you go through your deck and I haven't, but you have enough points, you can call the game and I get one more turn. But when we both go through, it ends.
right. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
could come down to this
All right, so I'm
faction.
I'm gonna have to throw caution to the wind here.
Yeah. Yep. This is
Um,
going to be a real humdinger. So you got 6 hazards.
Annalena is worth 1 point. Gandalf has a +1 to his corruption checks. I'm just looking at who I can put this lure of nature on. So I think Gandalf, there's no way it's going to do anything to him. I think I'm going to play it on Annalena.
Yep.
So she would have 3
That's
checks at the end of the
3.
movement hazard phase. She would have 3 checks that she has to beat a 2.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so that's 1. And we'll try to assassinate Gandalf for 2. So
So that's key to.
so now with that, that's key to the site. That's key to the free domain or the freehold.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yep.
sorry, the freehold.
So men 3 attacks.
So it
against
attacks the same character 3 times. It's an 11 prowess. So Gandalf will have to face an 11 prowess attack 3 separate times. You can cancel 2 of those attacks by tapping other characters with him. But it's worth 2 marshalling points. So you know that with this played and targeting Gandalf, that Dane is going to be your faction influencer. You're not gonna keep Gandalf untapped. There's really no way when an assassin is coming at him. You want your wizard to just go ahead and fully do what he can to maybe beat this and score yourself another 2 points. But he's sort of out of the running for bringing the dwarves in. So 1
So at the
at
moment
11.
he taps, he'd be a 6 versus an 11. He'd need a 5 to be safe.
Mm-hmm. And if he fails the first attack, let's say he ties it and he can't score the points, he can't kill the creature, then you would use 2 of the other characters to tap to cancel the remaining 2 attacks against him, just to keep him safe. You know you're not getting the points. Better to just cancel it and be done with it.
Right. So there's no decision to be made at this stage. It's just tap and face the first one and see what happens.
Correct. So he's looking for a 5 to tie it or a 6 to beat it.
I'll put it in just. So slash up.
Always a danger. All right, so I get a body check on him.
Hang on. So so I wound him. Oops. And his body is 9. Yep.
All right. So now what you do is you cancel the remaining 2 attacks. There's no reason for him to fight it.
Yeah.
And you can chap 1 or 2 other characters to cancel the other 2 attacks.
I'll use Ori because he's a prowess 2.
So that cancels 1, and then you have a 3rd attack to cancel with another character.
Which is Bofa. So I'll tap Bofa and Ori. Alright, so
that's all
2.
I have. Believe it or not, that's it.
Wow.
Actually,
okay.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
What about your permanent events? Can you do anything with them?
Yeah, I thought about it. I probably should. Do you want to let me do that, tap Ren, and just see what happens?
Yeah.
Because we're all going to have to check. Me too. So we'll do that.
If you don't do it now, you can't do it, can you?
We
can't
all
do it
check
in the free
now.
council.
We all check now, and then we'll all check again for the free council. So something's going to happen with all these dice rolls.
Yep. So who goes first?
So you go first.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. There's not a traitor in play. The traitor is the one that triggers when someone fails a corruption check and he beats up on another character in his company. But since it's not out there, whether you fail first or I fail first, there's not really any consequence. I guess it could inform your decision of how to tap to face what you're facing in corruption checks. But go ahead and go first.
All right, so I'll do Barlin because he's a danger. So he's 6. He's just a straight 6. So do I just go CC 6?
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, I just show who I'm doing. So I mouse over. Then I go CC 6 and /roll. This could easily fail.
Yeah, exactly. Way to go, Balin. All right.
So that's survival, wasn't it?
So he survived. He's totally fine. Dwalin would fail if he rolled a 2. So he'll need to check. He's not worth any points, but it could change what happens. Good.
What? So Gandalf.
Gandalf is fine. Annalena will have 1 check at 2. Okay.
Right.
And
Nori's
yeah,
fine.
none of the other guys except for Dane need to worry.
So he's a 1 + 5. Was it 5 or?
He's got 1. Let me check.
Yeah. I'll have a look too.
Yes, the Dwarven Ring of Dwalin tribe is 5. And then the shield is another 1, so he's up to 6.
Okay.
So what I would consider doing is tapping Annalena to take it down to a 5.
Yep. Okay. So.
And then in the free council, you tap Nori to take it down to a 5 again. Or wait, yeah. That's. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the Friender 3. You definitely want to use that at some point.
Yeah.
Whether that's on Balin or Dane. I would use it on Dane because he's worth more points total with the ring and the ally and his character marshalling points.
So it doesn't really matter when I.
So tap Nori and beat up 4.
And save the Friender 3.
And save the Friender 3 for
council.
Dane at the end.
Yep, okay, so it's a CC 4. Alright. That should be right.
Hey! Well done. He's not going anywhere. Alright, so now my checks. Bergil has 1, so he's fine. Faramir has 1. Baratar has 2. So he's got a corruption check at 2. Okay. Denethor has a CC of 4. And
do you want to support?
I can't play resources. So because it's your turn, I can't play my friend or 3 if I had one or anything else, but I can tap to support. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to tap Bergil and make it a corruption check of 3.
Yep.
All right. So that was that.
Yep.
And now Annalena will have checks to make for the 3 wilderness that you moved through.
Oh, well done to remember that.
So she's only got to beat a 2, but she's got to do it 3 times.
So slasher.
Ah!
Don't believe it.
You lost 1 point. I got her with one. I got 1 point off the table.
So
just discard her. Just drag her to your discard pile. If you fail by 2 or more, you're eliminated. If you fail by equal to or 1 less, they're just discarded.
Yep. So I'll decrease my characters by 1.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very close.
So
you're still doing hazards, aren't you? Oh, no, you said you had all the hazards. Done. Yeah, yep.
So, yes, so go ahead and move Lorien back to your location deck.
And I need to discard back to 8.
Correct.
But just any hazards because there's not going to be another turn.
Right, no hazards.
2, 3, 4, so just throw a couple out. Okay.
So Dane he's got 3 direct influence. He's using 1 of that to control Ori. So he has 2 free direct influence. He gets on his card, he gets a +2 direct influence against the Iron Hill Dwarves.
Yep.
So that takes him up to +4. The ring takes him another 7. and the faction gives him another 1.
It's +2.
So he's got +12. So you do not need the new friendship, but you could use it to see. Does that work on a corruption check as well?
+2 to a corruption check.
So he saved that. Use that for his corruption check at the end of the free council. He's automatic bringing in the dwarves of the Iron Hill Dwarves.
Yep. Okay. So
you can just tap him and score that.
I wish I knew where that dwarves came from. I'm really wondering. I don't know. It was in my hand, so it's legal, but I don't know.
You pulled a fast one. I don't know. I think you were bluffing me the whole time.
I slipped that in out of my sleeve. I don't know if it was there all the time or I picked it up. I can't tell you how it got there.
All right, so score your faction points. 4 points added.
Okay, so...
And now we do corruption checks again.
So I've just got to finish So I did my sight phase.
So we go through the end of the turn.
8.
Right. We go through the end of turn.
So why is it saying resolve to 8? Oh,
because you've only got 7 cards
at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'll draw my card now for my end of turn. Just I won't do one, and I'll go end of turn.
All right.
Acknowledge. I drew a gloom, which is no help. And then I finish the turn, and it's an automatic free cancel.
Yes.
So we do the whole thing again.
So I'll check first.
Okay.
And again, the only check I need to make, I've got to do Baratar. He's got a 2. I've got Denethor. He's got a 4.
And there's nothing to tap.
No.
Yep.
And now
All right.
Take it away.
So friend or 3 will give me a +2 on Barlin or a
Yes.
+5 on Dane.
But doesn't the new friendship give a bonus too?
And the new friendship gives a +2
to a character in the diplomat's company.
In a diplomat's.
Is it a diplomat only card?
Oh, it's a diplomat only, right? Yep.
And Dane is a diplomat. So you've got the right order. You want to play the friend or 3 on Balin, even though it gives a smaller bonus. He needs it, and then you use the new friendship on Dane.
So I buy that, and I mouse over that. So what did we say he was?
So
Dane's a 6.
He's got 6. So he's got to beat a 4.
Yep. 4. So this is a key roll. This can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe it.
You played it right, though. You played it exactly the way you needed to. It's just the dice got you. The dice got you. So that is 4 for the scroll, 4 for the axe, and 2 for Balin. So that's a 10-point swing right there.
Wow. So everything goes.
He goes.
I can't put something onto Dwarves.
No. When you fail a corruption check, you take your things and go home. Balin has left. Balin has left with the goods. So if you just drag him to your discard pile, the cards on him will go there as well.
So it's 8 off my items.
Yeah. Tough roll.
I'll just check my item total is still right.
So you've got 6 item points from the ring that Dane is holding.
And that's it. Yep. Okay. And discard the friend or 3, and I'll play new friendship.
Right.
Which will give me a +2, and but did we say he's got 6? 1. Yeah, he's got 6, so he's a 4 as well.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Dane.
Okay. Just in case Buster's wondering who we're...
No! No!
I don't believe it. So that's going to be...
That's going to be the game in a big way. The allies go. The items go. The character point goes.
Was it 5?
Huh?
Oh, so it's 2. And how many points was the ring? Was it 5?
The ring is 6.
6.
So that was you lost. This is what you lost with that roll. You lost all of your remaining item points. You lost your only faction points, and you lost all of your remaining character points.
Oh, my only ally points, you mean?
Ally and character points, because Dane goes away. Dane is the only character left worth points, and he's gone. None of those other dwarves have minds high enough to give them points.
So I'm down to my faction and 3 kill points.
Isn't that crazy? I had a game one time that had... I'm trying to remember the exact number. I want to say 36-point swing at the free council. I think it went from one player being ahead by 18 points to the other player winning by 18 points because of failed corruption checks and traitor. Sad. Two critical dice rolls failed.
Because my items was all right. I think I was up to 27. I had 28 items. So I was only going to lose 1 item point, I think. Half the 20. I mean, what did I say I had for the items? 28. You
had 6 from the 14, ring, and you 13. Had another 8 from the others. Right? The scroll and the axe were 8. So you had a total of 14 item points.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and I had 27 in total. So
Mm-hmm.
I could only count 13. So I was down to 26.
And
So I was plus 6, and I'm now minus 12.
you
So
lost
I've gone
5.
down
You lost 5 character points. You lost 2 ally points, and you lost 14 item
13.
points.
Mm. Mm.
That's a tough lesson.
Wow. and I had resources to help those checks.
Oh yeah, right. That you played. I thought you were going to
Yeah.
say you had additional ones. I was going to say you should have
No.
played them, but yes, you're right.
No.
You played it the way you had to. It just the dice weren't with you.
I haven't got the table with me, but a 4 to roll 5 or better is a pretty good odds.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
It's
expected
even
to
on the
roll 4
books.
twice.
No, 4 or less twice. I was about due to get
Your luck
rolled
had run
over.
out, hasn't it? In a big way. Wow,
I thought I was going to get away with it, getting that faction right at the end like that. I thought, oh no, I've got him.
the two dwarf lords changed their mind about playing. Well, good game. That was fun. I hope you felt like that was at least worth doing.
Yeah, yeah. So the plan is to exchange decks and tweak to our heart's content.